Adapting to climate change isn't any longer a conjectural issue. It's not a matter of 50 or 100 years hence. We're already seeing changes to our climate, and these changes are set to continue over the next few decades. Now, what this means for the UK is, in essence, longer, hotter, drier summers, warmer, wetter winters, and more frequent so-called extreme weather events, which to you and me means floods, droughts, heat waves, and storms. What this means for business is quite profound. It will have these changes to climate will have an impact across all areas of business operations, from their markets, the behaviour and appetites of their consumers, to their assets, the fixed nuts and bolts of the business, the buildings and the factories, to the infrastructure on which businesses, as well as the rest of the country, rely on to get their goods to market and get their employees to work. So adapting to potential changes to these potential changes to climate makes sound business sense. Our first message is that businesses shouldn't be daunted by the scope of climate change. It's a difficult issue to grasp, of course it is. Long-term changes to climate are necessarily complicated and necessarily uncertain, but addressing them, adapting your operations to potential changes in the weather, potential changes in the climate, isn't, nor should it be, about reinventing the wheel. We have good practice in terms of looking at normal, mainstream business risk. We have very good practice at companies reducing their resource use, reducing their carbon impact, reducing the environmental impact of their operations. Now, these are the key ingredients for climate adaptation. And the messages from our new report, Whatever the Weather, Managing the Risks of Climate Change, set out how businesses can take sensible, proportionate measures to ensure their operations are more climate resilient and ensure they're in the best possible position to take advantage of new markets and new opportunities that changes to climate throw up. So this isn't just a question of addressing complicated risk. It's about cultivating opportunity and implementing sensible, proportionate measures to make sure that businesses are able to prosper whatever the weather holds in store. What business is looking for from government is a clear, consistent voice, be that in the regulation that governs the business operations in key sectors, and be that in the criteria for government procurement, the conditions by which government develops the big public infrastructure projects that the private sector delivers. We're looking also for clear, transparent guidance. We have a wealth of information, and we're privileged in that, about the potential changes to climate in the UK over the next century. But it's important that that information isn't just available to specialists, but is accessible and usable for the majority of non-specialist users. And government has a clear role in ensuring that information is shared in the most effective fashion, so businesses are supported and able to take the action that we need to take to ensure that our economy is prepared for whatever the climate holds in store.